Hello everyone. Before we dive into today's topic, we want to take a moment to thank you for your support. Every like, comment, and subscription truly makes a difference and helps this channel grow. If you enjoy our content and don't want to miss the next videos, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all notifications. There is a man, alone, wrapped in fog, as his steps sink slowly into an ancient mountain path. There is no wind, no noise, only the faint rustle of his walking and the breath of the world, which seems suspended. The light is dimmed, faint, as if dawn had hesitated to be born. Every stone, every branch, every tuft of grass is covered by a thin veil that wraps everything in a dreamlike dimension. And as his body moves forward, the mind lingers behind to ask, am I following a path already written, etched into the invisible fabric of destiny? Or is the trail being born beneath my feet, shaped by each choice I make, by every intention that passes through me? The wanderer has no answers. But he feels that every step carries a possibility. Every direction is not merely a place to reach, but an act of creation. Walking, in this muffled space, is not just moving through the world. It is shaping it, giving it form, evoking it from nothingness. Perhaps this is precisely the secret that science began whispering a century ago. The world is not something to be viewed from the outside, but something that reveals itself in relation, in the very act of observing, of deciding, of being. In 1927, in an era shaken by cultural and scientific revolutions, a young German physicist, Werner Heisenberg, drew a line in human knowledge. A thin line, like an invisible border between what we can know and what we must accept we cannot. His uncertainty principle was not a mere technicality, but a rupture in the very way we conceived the universe. Until then, the dominant idea was that the world was governed by precise, rigorous, calculable laws. Determinism, a child of the Enlightenment, held that everything, absolutely everything, was predictable, as long as the initial conditions were known with sufficient precision. The universe was like a giant clockwork mechanism, a machine in which every gear moved the others in an unrelenting chain of cause and effect. If we were smart enough, attentive enough, we could calculate every future, predict every event, unveil every mystery. But Heisenberg lifted the curtain on another stage. The subatomic world, the realm of infinitesimal particles, did not obey those comforting laws. The more you tried to fix the image, the more it slipped away. The more you tried to grasp it, the more reality seemed liquid. If you measured the position of a particle with precision, you lost information about its speed. And vice versa. Not because of faulty instruments. Not due to technological limits. But because of a principle intrinsic to the very nature of things. The uncertainty principle tells us that there exists a veil, a margin, a threshold beyond which reality cannot be observed without being changed. The very act of observing changes what is observed. As if reality were not a still scene to be analyzed, but a living organism reacting to your presence. Thus, knowledge is no longer neutral. We are not spectators of the cosmos but participants. Not external observers but protagonists. Every measurement is also a choice. Every experiment is also an interference. The world, in the end, is not what it is. It is what it becomes when we look at it. This changes everything. Because if the universe is not a fixed mechanism, if not everything is predetermined, then the human being is not merely the result of a sum of causes. Then there is room for something subtler. For something we have always intuited, but modern science tried to set aside: freedom. Freedom, at the very heart of physics. Not as a poetic illusion, but as a real possibility. If the world is made of probabilities, then every action we take is a choice among potential paths. If the universe does not decide everything by itself, then our world too can leave a mark. In that quantum field of probabilities, every decision, every gesture, every conscious thought collapses one possibility among many and makes it real. Every choice is a creative act. There is not just one timeline, as we were taught. There are multiple ones. And we, with our actions, decide which to walk. We are walkers on invisible paths that reveal themselves only at the next step. Like a melody composed note by note, Life is a symphony that cannot be fully predicted, only lived, played, listened to. In this sense, the uncertainty principle is not just a physical law. It is an existential message. It tells us that the universe is not something rigid and definitive, but an open work. It invites us to step out of the dream of certainty, to embrace uncertainty not as a lack, but as a gift. The fog surrounding our walker is not darkness. It is potential. It is not ignorance. It is openness. Everything not yet seen can take shape. Every untaken direction can lead to a new world. In many spiritual traditions, this truth has been sung for centuries. Buddhism reminds us that karma is not a cage, but a seed. It can sprout in different ways depending on how it is cultivated. Sufism sees God not as a puppeteer, but as a cosmic dancer, inviting us to dance with him, yet never imposing the steps. In Vedantic philosophy, the Atman, the deepest self, is the witnessing consciousness, capable of observing without judging, of creating without possessing. And now science too stands at this threshold with reverence, abandoning the arrogance of explaining everything. Quantum physics reveals a world more like poetry than equation. And we, in the midst of this vibrating universe, can feel the trembling power of our consciousness. The power to choose. Freedom is not doing whatever we want. It is understanding the deep meaning of every act. Every choice is a seed thrown into the field of reality. Every gaze is a window that opens. Every intention is a wave that spreads. Freedom is not without consequence. It is responsibility. It is sacredness of action. Heisenberg did not speak of the soul. But his principle resonates like an ancient chant in the hearts of seekers. Those who meditate feel it. Those who love know it. Those who create, live it. Uncertainty is an invitation to participate, to not fear the unknown, to recognize that mystery is not something to be dissolved, but to be inhabited. And so the initial question returns. Where are you going? What step will you take today? You will never know everything. But you can choose. You can be present. And that presence is already freedom. Because perhaps the universe does not need masters. It needs poets. Walkers. Dancers in the dark. Conscious beings who choose, even in uncertainty, to be an active part of the great design that cannot be seen, but can be felt. And the fog, which once seemed an obstacle, becomes a companion. Every step is no longer a frantic search for security, but an act of trust. And the path, whatever it may be, leads not to a predefined destination, but to a continuous becoming. Because the universe, like life, is not written. It is writable. And you, who now walk, are the ink.